So we're told most feelings are normal, right? Even the not so pleasant ones, anger, jealousy, dislike, regret. But do those negative emotions have a negative impact on our daily happiness? In other words, are my feelings healthy? Studio 5 contributor Dr. Liz Hale is here to help us sort through what we're feeling and maybe what we should do about it. You take issue, Liz, with the idea that if I feel it, then it must be true.
Right. Feelings have no IQ. That's really the key. I love cognitive behavioral therapy. And for any one of our viewers who's struggling with depression or anxiety or a loved one who is, they really need to see someone who specializes in cognitive behavioral therapy.
What is that exactly?
Because when you take a feeling, let's work backwards. So let's talk about how you're feeling. Let's say you're depressed and life's not worth living. Now let's just back it up a little bit and let's talk about the thoughts that have led up to those feelings, because almost always there will be a thought, attached to the feeling, and it's really quite powerful.
So give us an example.
So in other words, what are the thoughts could be equally as true or more true? So maybe just that of, or, you know, I'm so anxious and no one really likes me. I never get invited to parties. And you think about, okay, so those are my feelings, that nobody likes me and I feel down and out about it and unloved. But I was just looking at my feelings going, gosh, I'm feeling kind of sorry for myself. When was the last time I threw a party for someone? When was the last time I reached out to other people? I'm looking for others to reach out to me.
So you're almost looking for the data, the facts in the situation, as opposed to the feelings that you're experiencing because of it?
Thinking almost always leads to feelings. Thinking almost always leads to feelings. So back up and realize, what am I thinking? What have I been thinking? What just happened? And what were my thoughts about it? And how could I think differently? What is also as true? It's not Pollyanna. It's just really examining. It's like, wow, those thoughts really led to those feelings.
You talk about this being helpful for someone who maybe individually is trying to pursue a happier thought process or happier way of living. Does this work for marriage as well, in couple counseling?
Well, always. I think, you know, what troubles us individually then troubles us in our marriages too. So many people will call me and say, you know, we want marriage therapy, but I think we also need individual therapy. And it's not that I'm trying to drum up both the business, but it's almost easier to work as a couple in marital therapy and to work on individual issues, because what troubles me troubles Ben and vice versa, right?
Let's get into some of these individual emotions, feelings, if you will. I'll throw it out and you tell us kind of how this might be affecting our emotional, our mental health, or our happiness. So anger, you're feeling angry for one reason or another. Is that ever healthy?
Yeah, you know, I'd say it's normal, but is it healthy? No. And this is probably the one emotion where there is the most debate about with clients especially. We want to justify and rationalize our anger because, you know, he called me a name, or because somebody misread me, or yeah, I was right and they were telling me I was wrong. So we want to justify it. But let me just ask you this. Last time you were angry and let somebody have it, usually it's a loved one, when was the last time that led you to a closer connection with them? To softness, to feeling more loved or more loving? It just isn't. We can justify till the cows come home. But anger is always wrong. It just is. We can be honest. We can be truthful. A lot of Christian clients will talk about the example of Christ and the money changers in the temple. Yeah, but he was angry, you know, and I read that recently. Maybe there's other examples of Christ being angry, but this one in particular doesn't say he was angry. As a matter of fact, he sat down and he took strips and he made a cord to use to chase out the money changers, but it doesn't say anything about anger.
That's our interpretation of it.
That's our interpretation. But when it comes to us as human mortals, I've never seen anger lead to closeness. It might motivate children to get up and do something, but those kids are motivated by fear, not by your love.
What about dependency? I know this is brought up a lot in marriage counseling.
Yes.
Is it healthy to be dependent on another?
That's another word that's so interesting. And usually we use the word codependency, right? And there's coda. You can find all kinds of things on the internet. And I think codependency has been so misused and overused, Brooke, that I think it's lost its effectiveness and usefulness. At least for me as a psychologist, it has. I like the word interdependency. You know, so in other words, am I happy without Ben? Yes, of course. That's an inside job, right? I must be. Am I happier with him? Absolutely. So there is that interdependence, much like paint. Let's just take a quart of yellow paint, mix it with blue paint. That creates 2 quarts of green paint, right? So independently, those are separate colors, but together, interdependently, they create this other beautiful thing.
Beautiful all in their own right.
Right.
Jealousy, I think another natural emotion. We're told, oh, it's normal. I remember as a teenage girl, my mom saying, this is a normal feeling. It's not a good feeling. So how would you categorize jealous?
I like that your mom said that. Normal, but not necessarily good. So jealousy, is it ever healthy? No, it really isn't. Because when I'm busy looking at your life, let's say, who's over here enjoying my life, the things that are unique over here? Let's just take you and me. If I'm jealous about you have 2.5 children, who's over here enjoying the fact that I can be a big sister to you, or a spare auntie to your 3 little ones? You know what I mean?
Yes.
We won't be able to do that. And then let's even take social media. We look at things and we just see the one angle. And what we don't see is all the things that are attached to that beautiful picture that maybe aren't as attractive to you. You know, it's like, oh, I don't really want that. It's just, I think the healthier people are those that enjoy the lot that they have, that they're in their own skin, that they're living their own life, and not looking elsewhere going, oh, I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda done over there.
I love that. I love that. Dislike. Is dislike healthy?
No, I think it's natural. You know, you can actually love someone and not like their behavior, right? Let's take someone, maybe a loved one who's struggling with alcoholism. They're really resistant and difficult to live with. It just is. It becomes a wedge between two people. So even though you may unconditionally love that person, you don't like their behavior because they're not really even there. They're either hungover or intoxicated, or they're thinking about how he and she is going to get their next drink. So it's really difficult to have a connection. So it's okay to dislike that. You may love them, but dislike what they're doing.
And those can coexist, the love and the dislike.
They do.
This last one has always intrigued me. It's regret. And it's intrigued me because you always hear people who say, oh, I have no regrets. And I've always been highly suspicious of that person because I think, gosh, even though I've learned from some life trials, there are certainly decisions and choices that I would go back and change in a heartbeat if I could. So regret, if I'm someone who may be living with a little bit of regret, is that considered healthy?
You know, I've always thought it was. Now, to wallow in regret, would not be helpful, right? That means I'm not learning my lesson. Maybe I haven't forgiven myself or forgiven others.
You're pooling in it.
Yeah, but I think regret seems rather normal and healthy because I need to learn from my experiences. Had I known now what I knew then, I would have done things differently.
Exactly.
So we're better teachers, you know, to our loved ones to say, here's what I learned. You may not like this or find this helpful, but I wish I had known differently.
We're better teachers because of that. I like that. So much wisdom in such a short conversation, Liz. We love you. Thank you so much.